Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Or is it welcome to the channel? Which is it? Did the chicken come first or did the egg come first? Good choice. Anyway, hopefully everybody out there is doing great. Personally, I'm doing okay. Could be better, could be a lot worse. Either way it goes, I'm here. What we're going to talk about today? Well, I've had questions sent to me on a number of occasions. Where would be a great place for me to live in the Philippines? Well, I can't make that decision for you. I don't know your lifestyle. I don't know your source of income or what your financial capabilities are. Now, personally, my lifestyle might not suit a lot of people. I'm sure of that. I like stepping back in time. I like being able to live the style of life I did as a child growing up. And I get to experience that again. It brings back a lot of fond memories of people that I cared dearly about. And that's very satisfying to me. Now, that might not be true for a lot of folks out there. And I understand that. No, I like living by a creek. I'm going to call it a creek because that's what I grew up with. Some will call it a stream. Some will call it a river. But my little creek out here is very entertaining to me. I grew up when there and what we done our laundry. Now, we did carry water from the creek, put it in a big tub, heat it up, so we could take a bath, especially during the cold fall and before spring, winter months. Then we carry that water from that tub inside the house and put it into another tub. A lot of work just to take a bath, but we did it. We had a hand-dug well, which here I don't have a hand-dug well here, but it brings back those memories. You're going out there and bailing water out of that well. Now, we was one of the lucky people. We had a pulley system on ours with a chain, and we just turn loose of it, and it fall down into the well, and you watch it turn, and you dip it up, and you draw it right back up. It sounds entertaining, don't it? And when you have to draw all that up when they do laundry from bailing water out of the well, that was a task. Which is still easier than carrying it from the creek because it's quite a distance at that time. Not like I'm living here next to it. But that's some of the things I get to experience. And the animals around me, not all of them belong to me, but I get to see the goats, the cows, things of that nature. Plus, personally, we have chickens. And of course, there's pigs. We don't have 2 pigs personally, Grace and I, but her mom does. And, I get to watch them grow up and eventually be slaughtered. Kind of looking forward to that because, of course, I have to compensate Grace's mama for it. But I do it by choice because I want that fresh meat to put in my deep freeze. That's some of the things I get to experience. Again, they won't be for everybody. Because I understand that. Now, I've been around the Philippines quite a bit, and I've experienced, different lifestyles here. But this is one that I find most satisfying. Now, you may find something more satisfying. You may like city life, where you got ease to public transportation, don't have to worry about driving, which that can be done in most of the cities. You don't have to worry about driving. And it's really not that expensive. Just less convenient when you got that spur of the moment, you want to just jump in your vehicle and take off. And what Grace and I did was that when it was local, we used public transportation because of the parking convenience. If we want to take a road trip, we took our own transportation. Which here, we do anything basically, we have to use our own transportation. That's one of the differences about living here in the province. Public transportation, especially where I live, is very limited. It's available, but it's on motorcycle only. Now, where would you choose to live? That's up to you. Me, all I can do is give you some examples. Let you make those choices on your own. If you ever decide you want to come here. Of course, that holds true in any part of the world. It's wherever you feel the most comfortable. Now, I found my place. It's up to you to find yours. Another thing about inconvenience, too, is when you get out here in the jungle like I am, getting decent internet, that can be challenging. Now, I've got 2 different internets. And is it dependable? Overall, with 2 of them, I can run a good 95% dependent with both of them. There for a while, I only had the one, and that was not much. In the beginning, I had none. We struggled. The only way we get internet and drive out, spend some time out to communicate with our family and friends and so forth. That was the only way we could do it. And as I gained knowledge of what's available and so forth, things changed, and I ended up acquiring one internet service, which was good overall, but not great. Even now, today, that service, it's good up to about 7 p.m. Then you got about 2 hours, it's not very good. Because of overcrowding on the tower that I'm able to get access to. Because I don't have choice of multiple towers here. It's the one. Even though there's plenty around me. But while I'm down in the valley, I'm lucky to get the one. But we finally ended up with fiber, which is limited, because it is a third party that's providing it. Of course, the good part about it, I don't have a contract. I do like that. Same way as my other internet, no contract. I pay by the month, prepaid, and I like that. Because I've experienced contracts here in the Philippines, and that can be very disappointing. Seen a sign for a provider locally where they had coverage. They said up to 85% dependability or something in those wordings. And speeds up to. That's kind of misleading. Up to. I like that. Up to. Yeah. Up to nothing. Oh. The way they word things here, it's kind of makes you want to think. You're going to scratch your head and wonder, what are they up to? Up to get your money is what it is. So I don't do contracts. I've had a bad experience with contracts 2 times with 2 different providers. Fortunately, I paid my contracts out, got out from under them, and never looked back. That's the way I like it. One I had an experience with, I only had internet one or 2 days a month. And the rest of the month, basically nothing. You want to know about that, huh? Of course, that has changed considerably since then, but it really left a sour taste in my mouth. Because it wasn't disclosed at the time I signed it. I had a 2-year contract with a provider, and everything was fine and dandy for for about 2 months. I was actually really very happy with the service. Dependable, and I wouldn't say super fast, but it was fast enough to be satisfying. Then all of a sudden, nothing. Absolutely nothing. After complaining for about 2 months, they finally told me what was going on. They have enacted a fair user policy. Well, I said, what's this got to do with me? I didn't sign. I signed that unlimited deal with no limits. Oh, fair user allows us to limit your bandwidth. You get 1 gig a day, up to 1 gig a day, and 3 gig a month. After that point, you are throttled down to basically almost zero. Anybody here that's familiar with the internet, 3 gig, that can be consumed very quickly. Very, very quickly. Especially with videos. That's just like this video here. I'm at 12 minutes at this point, and that's going to be over a gig. All you got to do is do the math. Anyway, after a little discussion, I said bring out the contract showing where I'll fall under this. And luckily, they let me out from under the contract without any penalties. Thankfully. But that's what happened. So, there are challenges here. You just got to be patient and don't lose your cool. Don't get angry. A lot of times you can work things out. That's the main thing about living here. If you're from another country, regardless in the world, it's going to be major difference here. And the biggest key a piece of advice I can give you is patience. And taking time to think about it and find alternatives and things to make it work in your advantage without being illegal. That's the key. There's always an opening if you look for it. There's a solution. Now, a lot of people ask me about Filipinos. What's my opinion? No matter what part of the world you live in, you're going to find women and men, both, it don't matter, that are not going to be openly honest with you. The main thing is being able to see those little things that will present their true self or inner. It's different for everybody. I did a lot of time before I came here talking to a lot of different women from all over the world, not just the Philippines. And I tell you what, it was a challenge. I really was on the verge of giving up. But being me as I am, I don't give up very easily. And I got, honestly, I just got lucky. But the key factors is you're trying to find someone that's on your level, will communicate with you fluently on things that strike your interest. You know, being able to see what, if you are together, what you can put a future together like. Things that will work for both of you. You know, and it takes time to do that. You know, if you don't have the time and you take sudden choices, might not be a good option. You might get lost in the translation, as they say. That's another thing too. English here is a second language. That doesn't mean it's fluent. Doesn't mean that it's understood exactly the way we understand it. You just got to learn on how to put words together to where you can communicate, which will be entirely different the way you speak and different wherever you live. Entirely different, because there's a lot of words to them that is confusing. I'll give you this small example, which is kind of makes you smile every time you hear it. They get his and her backwards a lot of times. In the beginning, it becomes confusing, but over time, you get adapted to it, and you finally figure out what they really mean. Different way they phrase things. It takes a little time to get accustomed to the way they do it. But if you are patient, you probably can live a good life here. Cost of living here, that's another thing. Lifestyle can make a big difference. But it's entirely different than it was when I first came here. First came here, the cost of living was astronomically cheap. You could rent a house, a nice house, for less than $150. I don't know if any of that still exists. Probably not. Maybe so. But I had rented in a number of occasions several houses for under $250 per month. Grace and I did move around a little bit, and we lived in quite a few nice places on a budget. So it is possible, but those cheap places are getting fewer and fewer. Don't count on it. I've noticed people posting places to rent now. Some of the things I've seen, and I'm not seeing anything under the $200 mark anymore, and far and few between at the $200 mark. Most of them are hitting up there, $350, $450. It's not uncommon to see, as they say in pesos, anywhere from 20,000 pesos and up. That's not saying they're not out there to be available for less money, but I've noticed it's getting fewer available. I seen a post recently. A guy was moving out, and his rent was, I think, if I remember right, was $12,000, and it looked like a nice place. And he was letting it be known it was going to be available, and that was nice of him to actually share that information. But anyway, there's a few things that came to mind this morning that I thought I'd pass along. And for those that are curious about here, it gives a little more insight. We, like I said, not everybody will live my lifestyle. I understand that. No, not everybody desires my lifestyle, because in their mind it probably will be very boring. But I enjoy what I do. That reminds me, before I sign off, for the past few days, I've been entertaining the kids here since they're out of school. I do have a large TV out here on my terrace, porch, that's what you want to call it. And I've been entertaining them with movies that they like, superhero movies, one thing or another, animations. And I've had several kids here throughout the day. And for me, it's not the movies that entertain me, it's seeing these kids being totally wrapped up in something they would normally experience during their summer vacations. And another plus is they get food. And we actually gave one of the kids, well, actually they got 3 kids, Grace had sent out to the market to get a bag of food. I call it a bag, but it's more like a box of food for that family. I had suggested that for a reason. Those kids, it's unreal just how thin they are. I told Grace, when we have the capability, is try to give a little food. We don't, it's rare for us to give money out for several reasons, because they wouldn't, they're not, I don't know how to say, conservative to buy the correct things. They would buy food with it, but it's not something that would be on a budget plan that would be more nutritious. So Grace covers that very well. Well, I apologize for rattling too much, but I thought I'd touch base with everybody out there and let you know what's going on. And thank you for those that follow me. Thank you very, very much. And everybody take care out there, and I'll catch you on the next one.